Hi there and welcome to the Chat and Dematt podcast brought to you by Christies Direct. So we are releasing this podcast on World Mental Health Day, and as groomers we know it's really important that you are able to put your mental health first and keep it in top tip condition to make sure your dogs get as groomed as perfectly as possible. So I am joined by a very special guest today. She is a very busy lady, and you will see that when I read out all of her qualifications and achievements, and she definitely has to prioritise her time in order to prevent burnout. So she is the owner of Brite Salon in Cambridgeshire. She is also the only certified master groomer in Cambridgeshire. She was a finalist for Dog Grooming Business of the Year, and she's a Wahl brand ambassador. Welcome, Tiff Saywell. Hi Tiff, how are you doing today?
I'm good, thank you. How are you?
Yeah, I'm good. Keeping well. So I've looked at all of your qualifications and all of your achievements, and they're all absolutely amazing. But if you maybe just want to give us an idea of how you actually got started in grooming?
Yeah, no problem. I did want to be a veterinary nurse, and I remember going to the college for the visit, and it was nearly 10 years ago now. So dog grooming wasn't really as popular as it is now.
Yeah.
And it caught my eye, and I thought, oh, that sounds interesting. And I just, when you get that, I got that feeling in my tummy, thinking,
that buzz.
Yeah. So that's how, I went about it like that, really. And I've had dogs my whole life, so I knew I wanted to work with animals. And then I was quite lucky to, my mum and dad had like a little outbuilding in their garden, so they let me set up in there. And just went from there, really. And I can't believe it's been nearly 10 years. It goes so quick. And then now we're in a shop. Been in there for a few years, and I've got staff now. So it's gone really well, and it's really good.
It's just flown by.
Yeah, it's literally flown by. Yeah.
And you are a Wahl brand ambassador. How on earth did you become one?
I work at Crufts every year on a grooming stand, and we would have someone from Wahl come over and help with all the Wahl products. And then I just got chatting to him about becoming one, and they liked my social media. I do try and do quite a lot of social media posts and videos.
Yeah.
And they really liked what I'd done on social media, and then they just contacted me, and I did a trial with them. I think it's for about a month or two, and they really liked what I'd done, and they kept me on, and I've been with Wahl now for a year. Yeah, and it's gone really well. It's quite a lot of pressure.
Yeah.
Because I've got to do certain posts each month for them, while obviously running the business. It is quite a lot of pressure, but I do like to set myself challenges, and I find it quite satisfying when I get it done, and I really like doing the posts for like all the like dog groomers that follow our social media, because obviously I talk about products on there, so it's good for other dog groomers that are following us, so they can look at what products we're using and what we recommend them for. So I find that quite satisfying. I do like helping other dog groomers with stuff like that. It's hard, but I do really enjoy it.
Mental health is such a prevalent topic in today's society. It's been estimated that 1 in 6 people have suffered from common mental health problems this week alone. And on top of that, that number is just rising. From 1993 to 2014, the number of people suffering from common mental health problems has risen by about 20%. But we have to ask, why has this risen so much? Number one, there's a lot more awareness for mental health conditions. It's more prevalent today. People recognise it as a genuine disorder, whereas back in the day, it wasn't really a thing to have mental health issues. But we've come a long way with it, so there's a lot more people able to speak up now. But I think a big part of it as well is the fact that if you have a mobile phone, anyone can reach you at any time of day. So having that me time, that alone time, being able to switch off is a lot harder than it used to be. So of course you're going to be thinking about work if people are able to message you about your work, especially if you're running your own business as a groomer. But the NHS have given us some top tips on how you can improve your mental health. The first one they've given is to reframe unhelpful thoughts. So a really great tip that I learned was, if you're ever experiencing a lot of problems, you feel stressed, you feel overwhelmed, write them all down, cross out what you can't control with those problems, and then you're left with a list of things that you can control, and it sort of gives you a plan and it gives you a guide, and it just helps you feel more at ease, because you know some of these problems you can't fix, it's out of your control, but the ones that you can make a plan on how to target those. So the second one is to be in the present. I know I am guilty for sitting at night time replaying everything I've done that day, what I'm going to do tomorrow, how I can do it better, did this get done, did that get done. So I think really staying in the present, not thinking too much about the past or too much about the future, and making sure that you're taking things day on day will really help. Number 3, get good sleep. So again, that relates to my point before, don't be staying up all night worrying about your problems. Get yourself into a healthy sleep schedule and you will feel all the better for it. Number 4, connect with others. So I know dog grooming, if you do it alone, it can be a very lonely job. So reach out to groomer groups, reach out to different people in your support system and share your thoughts with them, and maybe that will make you feel at ease. Number 5 is live a healthy life. I know our brand ambassador Kayla says exercise really helps her, so even just taking half an hour out of your day to do a bit of exercise, do a bit of yoga, a bit of meditation, make sure you're eating well, so that not only will your mental health be a lot better, but your physical health will be a lot better too. And finally, number 6, do something for yourself. So I would say every day, pick out one thing that makes you happy and do it. Whether it's having a cuddle with your dog, whether it's watching your favourite TV programme, listening to a podcast, even silly little things. Just do one thing that makes you happy, makes you smile, puts a giggle on your face. I know for me, a lot of the time it's going home, putting on my headphones and blasting my favourite music can always make me feel better. But those are 6 tips from the NHS, so give them a go, let me know what you think, and I will be giving these a go as well. You mentioned the pressure there. I suppose with starting your own business, being a brand ambassador, it can get quite overwhelming.
Oh yeah, it really can be quite overwhelming. But you've just got to prioritize your time. I do have days where I'll do my Wahl stuff, and then I'll do my work, business stuff, to make sure I get it all done right and it doesn't become too much for me at work. But yeah, you just got to get that balance right with work and also your personal life as well. But yeah, it's quite difficult, but once you get that right balance, it does work really well.
And was there ever a point where you were just getting overwhelmed with it all and you decided, I'm going to take a step back here?
Yeah, about probably just after the first lot of COVID, I think, that when we shut, and then when we come back, it was very full on, because obviously we had a backlog of people from the lockdown, and we were doing a lot of dogs, and it did get quite a lot, and I was trying to do the Wahl stuff, and yeah, it did get quite intense. So I did employ some more staff, and then I take a day off in the week now, so I have a day off midweek, which does really help, and I completely shut off from work. So I have a separate work phone and a personal phone. Definitely recommend that to any dog groomer, even big salon, small salon. Definitely recommend doing that. You can really shut off from work, and I leave it at work, actually, my work phone and my diary, and I'll only reply to people in our opening times, and which does really help. You can really switch off then.
Yeah, I know myself, I can testify for that, because I work in video and social media, and I've learned just to log off from all of the social media accounts that I manage at the end of the day, because there were times I would maybe find myself scrolling through Instagram at 11 o'clock at night replying to messages, and it's not healthy. You know, you need that point to shut off.
Yeah, leave work at work, and I go home, and like work doesn't come with me, and so I can switch off at home, because it is really important for your mental health, especially to switch off. When you run a business, it's really hard, because I do find you don't switch off, but you've really got to try and do that. And I have definitely done that over the last year or so, learned to switch off from it all, and it does really help.
Definitely. And I found from talking to a lot of groomers that yous all seem to find it hard to switch off. It seems to be a trait. Why do you think it's hard for groomers to sort of take a step back from their work? Most dog groomers run their own business. So when you are running a business, it is really hard to say no to customers, because obviously you're turning away like your income. But and also, like, we're all animal lovers, and we all want the dogs to, like, obviously have a groom and be nice. So it is really hard saying no. But I have definitely got a lot better at that. Like, we have our strict opening and closing times, and we just stick with those times. We don't come in earlier to do a dog. We don't stay later to do a dog. Yep. Those are our times, which I definitely would recommend doing. We'll only reply and answer calls in those times as well. But yeah, I do think a lot of dog groomers do find it hard to put themselves first, unfortunately. But you have just got to put your foot down sometimes and just say no, which I know I understand people find hard. And also, what I would definitely recommend with stuff like that is I like to book my time off at the start of the year. Yeah. So I know, like, all I'm booked off, and then that's it then. And then I can't ever say, I can't have time off because I've got dogs booked in, because my time's already booked off. And then I won't book dogs in for those days when my days are booked off. So it is hard, and especially if you work on your own. I'm lucky to have my staff, but I understand if you work on your own, it is hard to say no to people. But at the end of the day, you have got to have a break and not burn yourself out. You just got to be organised and book your time off in advance, and have strict days where you're open and closed, and stick to that as much as you can. Yeah, because especially when you mention burnout, like, burnout can lead to sleep issues. It can affect your cognitive performance. So when you're dealing with live animals, you need to be on top of your game. Your brain needs to be awake and ready to go.
Yeah, that's exactly that. Yeah, definitely. You've got to think of all your existing clients, because you don't want to be burnt out for them, and you want to do a good job on all those clients. Instead of doing loads of dogs, burning yourself out, and then you're going to not be yourself at work and not doing the job that you want to do properly.
Welcome to Quickfire Questions. On Quickfire Questions, we ask our guests what do they prefer, what's their favourite, and what is the first thing that comes to mind when they get asked this question. This round of Quickfire Questions was brought to you by Wahl. Welcome to Quickfire Questions. Tiff, I hope you're ready to give me some of answers to some of the most probing questions. No, I'm only joking. They're nice and easy questions for you.
Yeah, I'm ready.
So, your favourite Wahl product?
The detangler spray.
Your favourite style of grooming?
Breed standard traditional trim.
Your favourite dog to groom?
Schnauzer.
3 words to describe your journey as a groomer so far.
Exciting, I'll say stressful, and rewarding.
Describe your dog in 1 word.
Alert.
That's an unusual one. I've never heard that one before.
That's the only thing I can think of, because he is very alert with everything that's going on.
Cordless or corded clipper?
Cordless.
Would you rather groom in your salon or groom at a show?
At a show.
A show. Your top piece of advice that you'd give to any groomer?
Don't burn yourself out, and invest in good quality equipment.
For me, the topic of stress and burnout runs very close to home. Anyone who knows me knows that I'm the queen of saying yes, I'm the queen of bending over backwards, and it's because I love my job so much and I have such a passion for it. And I suppose I relate to groomers a lot because in the way that I create videos and podcasts, and they're my little pieces of art, the dogs that you groom in your salons are your little masterpieces, and you just want to make sure that they look perfect and you want them to feel good. So in a similar way, our job roles are quite passionate, and I think that's why it's so hard to step back sometimes. And it's not about not caring about your job, it's about setting time limits and setting yourself goals to make sure that all the care you put into your dogs doesn't affect you mentally. And I know it's the same for a lot of healthcare workers, they suffer a lot of burnout. And I think it's because these job roles are so vocational. They're your passion, it's what you love to do, and sometimes the love of what you do overrides your own mental well-being, and it shouldn't be that way. And I know I'm trying to work through some of my own burnout issues, but one of the things that I think helps me so much is talking to someone. If I am stressed, I just need to go to my vent person, as I call it. So I go to my best friend and I just vent to her about all of my issues, and I instantly feel so much better about it. But Tiff, do you have any tips for groomers out there on how you keep your stress levels down?
Yeah, so what I do is I try to have like a little hobby, which I do think is really important actually, at home. So like if it's like crafting or like colouring in the adult colouring books and stuff like that, like even a puzzle. I know it sounds like really old, but it does work, because you do need that switch off and to keep your mind off work. So I try to keep myself busy at home, and also I find like music as well. Listening to music will help, even at work actually, to help with the stress. Having a good atmosphere also to help with that. I make sure we leave work at a certain time so we can like help with switching off when you get home, not staying late. And also I find as well with the stress, I try not to do as many as difficult dogs, because that can make the day quite stressful. If a dog that's quite difficult to do, we will try and maybe find a groomer more suitable for them, or because that can make the day quite stressful. And always switching off as well at home, and then always taking a break at work, to help with the stress, because obviously if you don't break all day, you'll burn yourself out, and that's obviously stressful. So always taking a break, and just definitely having a hobby. I definitely recommend that. That does help with my stress.
What's your hobby?
So I like doing their photos, but they're like you stick diamonds on the photos.
Oh, I've never heard of that.
It's quite. I think it's quite a new thing. It's kind of like painting by numbers, but with little gems.
That sounds cool.
That's quite good. It does help. So that's quite good to switch off from work. Yeah.
And you said there about maybe the more challenging dogs affecting your mood.
Yeah.
Has there been any dogs like that have really impacted you in a day?
Yeah, it really can have a knock-on effect throughout the day if you have a difficult dog in. Like some dogs don't like, because we are obviously a high street shop, so it is busy. Some dogs don't work well with that, so we will try and find them a more suitable groomer. And especially if you're working on your own, if you're doing an aggressive or difficult dog, that can really have quite an effect on you. So I would definitely recommend maybe finding a more suitable groomer for that dog, instead of you putting yourself down about it. I do find a lot of groomers do struggle with that when they have difficult dogs in. It can really have a knock-on effect on you, not making you enjoy your job. So we need to be more strict with clients like that, and then help them find a more suitable groomer. Yeah, of course. For that dog.
Now, obviously you run your own salon. The stress of that can come into even what products you use. Is there any products that you use in your salon that really helps to make it run more efficiently and smoothly and give you peace of mind?
Yeah, definitely. So I'm quite strict of having really sharp equipment like scissors and blades. I do send mine off quite regularly. So that definitely will help with your day running smoothly if you've got nice sharp scissors and blades. So definitely get those done regularly, and a good blaster as well. We've got really good blasters at work, and they're really powerful, which the dogs will dry quicker, so that helps the day run smoothly. Then a really good quality shampoo is a huge difference in how clean the dog gets. With the cleaner the dog is, the quicker it's going to dry. So definitely invest in a good shampoo and blaster, because it does really make a difference in the day. And then always keep on top of your sharpening for your equipment as well.
Our brand ambassador Kayla reached out to some of her friends in the grooming industry so that they could share with us their groomer mental health stories. Our first story comes from Katie Dowding from Centre Stage Grooming. I work from home, so the most challenging part of my job is not being able to switch off, ever. Customers ring day and night well after what I would consider to be an acceptable time of day to be contacting someone about work. And they have little to no respect for your weekends either. I know you can get a second phone number for work, but then I'd spend equal amounts of time worrying that I wasn't answering the phone. The second most challenging thing to my mental health is the lack of permanence for anything I do. I groom a dog and 6 weeks later it trots back up the drive looking scruffy and unkempt. I make beds that look identically scruffy each morning, and I cook dinners that simply result in empty, dirty plates to be washed. Nothing is there forever, where I can look back months or years later and think, I did that. So I took up painting. I was not very good to start with, but I'm steadily getting better and better. For me, it's like a physical form of meditation which brings peace and tranquility to my life. I look back through my notebook at the drawings I did months ago and take pleasure that the dog I painted in the picture still looks immaculately coiffured, or the white horse I painted is still stain free. Because you know, in real life, you'll have had to do that work at least half a dozen times since then. Painting or sculpting should come naturally to a dog groomer. We know the shapes we're looking to produce, or know how to balance a dog. Painting uses all of those skills and a few new ones. I'd recommend it to anyone. Our second groomer mental health story comes from Laura Cook from Lucky Friend Pet Grooming. So I run a multi-site company with several groomers, and it's mobile based, so all around headaches. The admin involved is one of my biggest headaches. Being a very popular service in our area, we have a lot of calls, emails, text messages, WhatsApp messages, Facebook messages, Instagram messages. It goes on and on. I'm a self-confessed workaholic, and I'm guilty of working until I burn out more than once. So structuring the workload is vital for me to be able to switch my brain off. The worst feeling for me is having a mega busy day grooming dogs, training our assistants, and then heading home to deal with a million calls and messages, or spending my days off doing the same. I now book my day with catch-up gaps. This might only be a 10 or 15 minute slot in between dogs. Sometimes it's half an hour, but I always schedule a half-hour slot in the morning to catch up on messages that came in over the previous evening. That way I can start the day with messages clear and focus on the dogs. Then I have a short slot, maybe only 10-15 minutes at lunchtime or in the afternoon, to deal with any replies or things that have come in over the day. Finally, I have half an hour at the end of the day, usually when the girls are cleaning down, so I can finish booking any appointments, deal with any inquiries, etc. before I go home. Once I get in my car at the end of the day, that is it. Phone off, leave it in the car if necessary. It's so important to have that break from work, and if I don't have those little catch-up slots booked in my diary, I end up feeling stressed all day, and then it affects my dogs. I go home feeling swamped and go to bed, and I don't sleep well because I'm thinking about work. I wake up panicking that I've got loads of dogs and millions of messages. Our next groomer mental health story comes from Nikki Kazan of Berkshire Grooming in Eton. It never crossed my mind that running a dog grooming business would have such an impact on my mental health and well-being. When I left a busy events management agency, I wanted my next life challenge to be less of a challenge, and I thought dog grooming would be perfect. How wrong was I? Yes, it is perfect for me, but it's no walk in the park, and it's definitely not for the faint-hearted. We work with dogs all day, so our job is often perceived as one of the loveliest and easiest jobs you could do, because I play with dogs all day, don't I? This is so far from the truth. Bottom line, we are using very sharp scissors and equipment around live animals who would rather be playing chase in an open field. On the opposite side of the scale, we have their human owners who want their animals' hair to look absolutely perfect, as well as doing this all in a time slot, because at the end of the day, we are running a business. It's a lot to deal with and a lot of pressure on one's shoulders. You train to be a dog groomer, but you also need to know how to sort your self-assessment, deal with pat testing, and all of the customer service as well. I started off on my own, and I actually looked forward to that me time. However, it started to get very lonely. I then employed a lovely lady, and I've now employed another. I can't explain how much better it has been for me and my well-being to be part of a team. I've realised I am very much a team player. However, the one point I have learnt after 7 years of running my own business is balance. Balance is the key to my mental well-being. I used to go crazy at Christmas, burn myself out, and cry at the end of every Christmas rush. I soon realised this was so unhealthy, not just for me, but my family too. Having a healthy balance means I'm setting my own business boundaries and can meet all expectations. I'm not beating myself up 24/7, worrying that I'm not fulfilling my clients' needs, as well as those of my accountants, the landlord, my employees, the list goes on. It's taken a while to get to this point, but I honestly urge all new and old groomers to find their own balance for the sake of their own mental health. That, and I walk every day with my dog, listening to podcasts and sipping coffee, my happy place. This groomer mental health story comes from Nicole Garnett of Paws of Perfection. Hi, I'm Nicole. I run a grooming salon in Maidenhead called Paws of Perfection. Running a salon, having a 7-month-old baby and 2 dogs can be mentally and physically hard, but we must remember to sometimes put ourselves first. It's okay to take a holiday or take a day off just to be at home. As groomers, we often take on too much and forget about us, but without us, everything would fall apart. To help with my mental health, I make sure I now work to live, not live to work. To let off some stress, I find long walks with my baby and dogs also help. Also, I've learned housework can wait. My baby and my business need me, so I spend my spare time with them. Yes, I love my job, but balance is key. Our final groomer mental health story comes from Corrine Harrison of Hakuna Matata that trades as 2 left paws Crowthorne. Mental health is very important to me. I've been through some traumatic events which have enabled me to focus and find what activities I can do to help my mental health. I am a true believer in healthy body, healthy mind. I find I can be miserable over little things if I haven't exercised and released those endorphins through my body. I cycle to and from work, which really helps me to start off my day with the correct mindset and allows me to switch off at the end of the day. By cycling, I can easily keep a divide between my work life and my personal life. Thank you for joining us on Chat and Dematt, and thanks for listening to this episode. Groomer mental health is an extremely important topic, and we just want to make sure that all of you groomers out there are staying safe and happy and healthy. But we'd like to give a massive shout out to Tiff, Saywell and all of our other contributors in today's podcast. Make sure you tune in for our next podcast in November.